All right, now that another whack playoff team has been knocked out of the playoffs, and I am speaking of the LA Lakers, um, now we get down to the real deal. Our final two contenders, of course, in the West, like I thought, were going to be the Spurs, of course, and the Thunder, which I didn't think was going to make it this far. Thought they were going to get knocked out in the second round, but they proved me wrong. Of course, LA is a little old, and I am speaking of the Lakers, not the other whack LA team, the Clippers, who should have never been in the playoffs with Blake Griffin. That's another story. So we're going to do some predictions early because everybody's going to be listening to the commentators, Charles and Shirk and all the rest of them. So let's shoot something early. That series is only going to go 6. Again, granted, we can't count what happened in regular season in the playoffs, but granted, the Spurs beat the Thunder 2-1 in a 3-game matchup during the season. Mind you, Ginobili didn't play in none of the 3 games, so you got to take that into consideration. Not only that, you got to think, again, granted, the whack team, the Lakers, which was put out of the playoffs, 3 of those games they possibly could have won, so it could have went either way. So you got to consider these things. So when you watch a team, a young team like the Thunder, play, in which they somewhat struggled, but they managed to pull it off, which is a good factor, we have to consider all elements before anything. Now, when it comes to the Thunder, what's going to kill them in this series against the Spurs is they're going to get out coached. Popovich is a marvelous coach, and we're going to find out in this next round. Not only that, but the Thunder are a perimeter shooting team. That is going to be their biggest default. Westbrook is not going for 30 points or 40 points in this next series. I just don't see it happening. Not only that, bench is going to be key. The Thunder are going to find out, like the Lakers did, and like Miami, that the bench is very key. And if you don't have a bench, you will suffer. So, again, you're getting a prediction the day of the whack team, the Lakers I speak of, getting put out of the playoffs. Granted, I don't want to say whack because they did keep it close. Maybe not in their elimination game, but every other game outside of that was close, minus the first game that they got blown out of, in which no real championship team comes out in that fashion. But they found out from a young Thunder team that was very hungry, and I keep saying this, it's not the most talented teams that win these games. It is the hungry team. Again, I got into a dispute with my guy today about the Bulls, in which when the Bulls lost Derrick Rose, he said, oh, we're still going to beat Philly. We're still going to beat Philly. And I kept telling him, Philly's a young, hungry team. Your star is down. Your general's out. And when sharks smell blood, what do? Attack. So you got to keep all these things in mind. So the hungry team, the most coached team, and I keep saying this in the playoff, again, when you play these games, it's all about adjustments. If you don't make adjustments, you will lose every time. This is why I say in Miami's case, they may be okay because they have made adjustments without Chris Bosh. That's what you have to do when a player goes down. You make adjustments. In LA's case, with Mike Brown, which who knows if he'll be back next year. Probably not. He made no adjustments. Kobe, do your thing. Pau Gasol, get a rebound if you can. And stay out the way. Bynum, dye your hair because it's gray. I mean, who knows? I mean, you got to... Just thinking about that series, they did not look like former champions of 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever it was. They got out coached, they got outplayed, they got out muscled. I just haven't seen a Lakers team like this in a few years, so it was a little surprising. So I can kind of beat up on them in this video. But in any event, mark my words, Ginobili is going to be the X factor in that game, just like Jason Harden or James Harden is going to be the factor for the Thunder. If James Harden doesn't come with it, they will have a very tough time because who else are you depending on to make these shots? Again, a perimeter shooting team. And when you shoot, that causes problems when the shots don't drop. So, again, I'm calling it early. Mark my words. They need to put me on ESPN for this one. But the series will be over in 6, maybe 5. And I'm giving it to the Spurs, 4-2. They will outcoach them. They will outplay them. And I'm telling you, just watching this Spurs team, man, they look the best that I've seen in years. And they're going to cause some problems. Guaranteed. They didn't want to see Memphis make it through because they might not be where they're at. But they are where they are for a reason. And again, the Thunder will find out the hard way. So Westbrook, Durant, Harden, I'll see you next series.